These machines are just demons in another form. I will destroy them with my prayers. I shall burn them with my holy cross. And you just went full Parson. Never go full Parson. I'm One Ring, and this week we're talking about demons. Let's do this. So, I started off this week's video with a quote from Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds, specifically The Red Weed Part 2, which is the third disc on the second, which is the third song on the second disc of the album. It was released in 1978, which is well after Led Zeppelin 4, which was the premiere of Stairway to Heaven, which was a song prominently cited as, being, properly cited during the whole backmasking panic. So, and I mentioned the date and the fact that it, and that it was released during that phase of this satanic panic, because the figure of the Parson, was changed in adaptation from, H.G. Wells's The War of the Worlds to Jeff Wayne's musical version. One, the religious figure in the original book is a curate. And also, instead of viewing the invading Martians as demons, he views this invasion as, punishment from God. And while in Jeff Wayne's version, the Parson view, once again, it's a demonic invasion. He literally says at the beginning of his little musical number called The Spirit of Man, which is the song before the one I quoted, "The voice of the devil is heard in our land." And excuse me for geeking out about Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds for a bit, because it is a hidden gem of the 70s, and if you haven't listened to it, do yourself if you haven't listened to it, and if you enjoy, the more operatic kind of, orchestral rock of the 70s, give it a listen. That's my little media recommendation for this week, is Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds. Give it a listen. But, so, anyways, the curate, figure sees it as God's punishment, and there's actually a quote from the original I'd like to, which is actually from the narrator, but let's go on and, sorry, still getting over being sick, but what good is religion if it collapses under calamity? Think of what earthquakes and floods, wars and volcanoes have done before to men. Did you think God had exempted Weybridge? He is not an insurance agent. So, anyways, in the original, it's more, and it's a subplot once, and, also in the musical, it's a subplot that, it's a brief moment that happens within the greater plot. It's a scene. But in the original, the scene is this is God's punishment. God is bringing about the apocalypse to to do things because we've pissed him off. While in the musical version, which was released in the 70s, in the late 70s, it's demons. It's demonic activity. It is the work of Satan. Now, I don't have any sources this is purely my conjecture. I definitely have a feeling that the change in the adaptation was in part to comment a little bit on the satanic panic. But let's move on past that little tangent, streaming from why this, about the War of the Worlds and the 70s and the satanic panic, and onto the actual topic of, the video and why, and why I, started with that quote. See, a lot of fundamentalists, or a lot of people in a certain subsection, and the more Pentecostal side of the fundamentalist evangelicals, the people who actually believe in the presence of demons, like to, say this is demonic and this demonic force is making, is either warping society or bringing calamities upon people. And sorry about that. I had to cough a little bit. Must be the demons. But, so these, they'll point at demons, they'll point at the work of Satan, and they'll scream witchcraft and all manner of horrific demonic forces whirring about. Ooh. And I doubt, demons exist. I heavily doubt it. Any interventionalist supernatural being, if such beings exist, and if they do, in fact, and if they can, manifest themselves to interact with our reality, then there would be a way to corroborate that fact and measure it, and then it wouldn't exactly be supernatural. There would be explanations for it. It would be within the purview of science. But demons can get very interesting when dealing with more Pentecostal sides of the evangelical section of Christianity. Things get interesting when you start believing in demons. Believing that, when you enter the demonic paradox, there are these beings which are so powerful that you can't engage with certain media that have been tainted with their presence, lest they infect your mind and bring about calamity upon your life. But just, just throw a few Bible verses at them and say, "You shall not pass," and then they run off with with their barbed tail between their legs, off into the off to the shadows from whence they came. And it's a scapegoat. It's very much like a clever it's a shell game. You blame these supernatural forces that and if the problem happens to go away, then you have defeated the supernatural evil through the power of your faith. But if the problem persists, then the person you weren't helping wasn't really believing, or they were doing something to give the demon, permission to enter into their life, because apparently demons work on vampire rules. You've got to invite them in, and seems like inviting them in means not doing what we want you to do, or engaging with media that we don't approve of. Which, yeah. I've read Harry Potter, and I've read Forbidden Doors, and I'll go ahead and link, or you can look at my review of the Forbidden Doors series, and I can tell you that there are a lot of supernatural creatures in Harry Potter. Demons aren't any of them. I'm fairly certain I can't, I mean, yeah, the Dementors are pretty scary, but I wouldn't say that they're, based on demons. While, Forbidden Doors, you turn around the corner and, there's a demon working at the Ouija board, and being the UFOs and all sorts of demonic shenanigans. Except for the vampire book where it's old Mr. Jenkins. But seriously, do yourself a favor. If any exorcists, if any Pentecostals happen to be watching this, do yourselves a favor. Don't blame the demons. If there is a legitimate problem, find the source of the problem and deal with it. But, as they say, that's how things go. And, any other new people watching this, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Always remember, especially in regards with the spookier side of Christianity, that indoctrination is a hell of a drug.